right, let's do audio visual check. How's everybody doing? Getting a few things set up on my end. Baron, at the Denver airport, waiting to board. Where are you headed? Barrio. You're good, good, good. Give me just a moment. Make it April 14th. April 13th. Monday's price action. Okay, let's get started. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Slow Markets. Slowish markets. As always, the YouTube chat. In the YouTube chat, there's our Top Step risk disclosure. We know it's for educational purposes only. It's not financial advice. We know that. You know that. You should know it. Understand it. Talk about it every single night. Let's go, Dakota. Shout out to Coach J. Coach J trolled us. What did Coach J do? What did Coach J do? He said he'd be in the chat. How about those Masters? That was an interesting thing. Today, it was the first two holes looked like it was just the beginning. If you watch golf, watch the Rory choke the very first hole and then grind back, and it was a entertaining golf Masters at Augusta. Nice playoff. Seems like it's much slower paced market. Still fast though. Good evening, Dakota and all. Fabio from Peru. Where at from Peru? Insane Sunday. How's everybody trading? Have you placed any trades tonight? How was your weekend? Before we dive into this market, you live in Augusta. Pinching pennies. Do we even need to look at the daily chart at this time? At this point, is the daily chart just invalid with all the news and headlines that are coming out? Waiting for margins to go back to normal in your personal accounts. Yeah, there's a lot of people waiting for that. Done for the day. This is not slow market. This is the regular. This is what typical fast markets used to be. It's slower tonight. It is a lot slower. Was down 3. Then you finished 4.5, 500 away from passing. Great. I was up, now stuck in a short. Okay, so it seems like it's mixed. It seems mixed tonight. Well, let's take a look at this. Daily chart. Daily, I don't know how much, credit I'm going to give on the daily because of all this headlines and everything. But from what we can see here, last week was just insanity for these markets. And for the volatility that we seen last week was just unmatched. Like, look at the daily candles and some of these days where we did see a lot of volatility at that time. We're like, wow, look at all this volatility at that time. Volatility was high. And we compare that to what we seen last week. And last week, it was on another level. It was like, look at these daily candle compared to the others, just in capsules. Just like, even if we want to just do a little bit of a comparison, like, what other day did we get a candle just so big? It's just the level and the opportunities in this market are definitely unmatched. And we can take a look at that and just take a look at the ATR, and it would kind of explain to us here on the daily perspective about where we are at. Did we peak? Have we peaked? This is a daily chart. This is a daily ATR. Getting about, almost 900 points a day. is like we didn't even get that back in August. Like during that big sell-off, during that major sell-off, we're double that, right? We're almost double that back in August. So yeah, there's that perspective. We are starting to see a decrease. Knock on wood. Are we seeing it decrease? I mean, so far we'll see. It is they just started Monday's price action we're seeing tonight. Now, obviously, this is pretty straightforward, pretty simple in terms of price action. Level of support, level of resistance, right? Are we going to, can we be range bound? Can we stay in between this range for a little bit? Now, it's a big range. The highs and the lows is about 1,200 points. And then we take a look at, I don't even want to look too far back because this immediate price action is really more important. Interesting thing, this resistance happens to be in the same where we started to sell off back in the middle of March. And so it makes sense. It makes sense that this is resistance again. And that's basically it from this daily chart. Let's zoom into an hourly, and you kind of see it here where there's lots of support and resistance, and on this lower 19,000, sure enough, it became resistance on that big news, and it looks like it even became resistance tonight. We gapped open, we gapped. It was very big gap to the north side here in the NASDAQ, and how big of a gap is that? That was, let's see where we closed, estimating. 400 points, 400 points to the upside. And I mean, we still have a ways to go if we want to come up and test this level near this 19,000, 300s, 19,300s, up mid to upper 300s here in the NASDAQ. And then just zooming in where we at, I mean, we do have this level of support and resistance. This was, support, resistance. Tonight, it's becoming support. So resistance, support, support, resistance. Very basics. And looking at, we tried to fill it, right? We tried to fill this gap. This is a Sunday night gap. The gaps have been really big in this volatility. And so the question will be, can we fill this gap between tonight or tomorrow or sometime, which is, almost a little over 200 points lower? Where is it? 8 lower, basically close to 18,800. So I know there's going to be a lot of people watching this. Will it get filled? I mean, maybe during the New York session, maybe during London session, maybe tonight. I don't know. But we tried to fill it. We tried to fill it at the open, the first hour. Let's zoom into a 5-minute chart and see. Yeah, pretty straightforward. You can see where we tried to fill it. This is the level that became support. We are making higher lows so far tonight. We're also making higher highs. We're running into a little bit of resistance that we ran into at this open around the 19,070s. And it looks bullish. I mean, we're already up 1.25%. I mean, what more can you ask for? Up 1.25% up there on the top left-hand side on that tab. I would... this just makes it hard to trade this kind of a market, to be honest. I kind of want to test a bit of a short to come back and test these lows. It's looking pretty tempting to me to take a trade at the short side. Let's watch it. Let's see if we could get into a short to go test 19,000. It's a wedge pattern. Yeah, it is a wedge pattern. Good for a drop. Good for a drop. Anybody trading? Let's take a look at this tilt. Tilt's 51% short, so tilt is mixed. I'm in my live account tonight. Let's take a look at the micros. I'm gonna zoom in. I don't want to short it after I want to see 5 minute on the left, 100 tick on the right. Let's watch. I'm gonna. I just need to just do it. Just do it. I have to discipline and wait for the AM. Yeah, I think for me, it's let's see how this price action is, and if I see an opportunity, because this is a decision zone where we could sell off and go back down to the bottom of this range, the bottom of this New York's or this Asian session, slow markets, or we can break through this and have a nice breakout trade. Maybe we come up and test some of these highs. So I wouldn't be surprised for both, where it would be kind of in the middle of today's range. And yeah, let's just watch and see. I would rather. We rejected that again. Dakota, how do you figure out your daily loss limit? Where you don't set it so low, this way you let your edge play and not limit it. It depends. I mean, I have my daily loss limit at 5,000. And $5,000 for a daily loss limit, if you're trading micros, is huge. It's big. It depends on how big of trading you are. I think $1,000 daily loss limit's valid for traders who are trying to become consistent. Trade micros, $1,000 in a day. You shouldn't be hitting the $1,000 in a day trading micros. And I mean, in a normal market environment, this crazy volatility that we're seeing now, maybe. But just like anything, it really depends. Let's take a look at the run of all these other markets. I mean, is there much analysis to do on these markets? They're all pretty similar with all these headlines coming out. Crude oil, this is looking like maybe a head and shoulders pattern. We dipped towards $55, $56 a barrel. We could easily come up and test these $63. I mean, this is volatile as well, making a shoulder pattern, making a higher low, equal high. Maybe we could come up and test these 63s. That's what I'm watching at in crude oil. I don't want to be getting into a short. I know the trend is down, but I mean, yeah, the trend is down. Maybe looking for. I'm looking for a breakout. Go come up and test these. Why not? Why wouldn't we? If you're going to short it. Yeah, I would. Oh, it's so hard to do analysis, everybody. I'm sorry. It's so hard on a higher time frame because of this headline. All the headlines that's been coming out all week. Everything from a top-down view, like daily and hourly, has been more difficult because of the headline risks, and a lot of it just doesn't make sense with like these crazy random moves and all this volatility. It's almost like an hour and lower. I mean, anything that I'm looking at because of last week, it's just to heck with it. I don't have much. I mean, I'm looking at the price action, and it's been super simple in terms of like just not overthinking, because in another hour, maybe any minute, we could get some random headline that will move this market, not just this market, just almost all these markets, 1% in any direction without warning. And so, to be honest, it really is just zooming in more than I'm used to. So instead of looking at the daily, then like an hourly, maybe even just looking at what are we going to do in the next hour? Like not even thinking about tomorrow or the next day, yet alone holding trades overnight because of this volatility. But still the same thing. Hourly chart, zooming into a 5-minute chart. This is looking bullish. Like I said, now we're zoomed into a 5-minute chart, and we can still see that maybe a shoulders pattern, possibly, right? With the neckline being up here towards the $63 a barrel. If we can make a run up there and then a breakout, it'd be a nice, I wouldn't plan on a breakout. For me, it would just be, let's zoom in and take scalps, take smaller trades, not wanting to hold any position for longer than an hour, to be honest. Let's get in and out. 5, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour at most. Don't want my capital to be at risk in these markets with everything that's going on. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Maybe some opportunities to take longs. looking for $63 a barrel and just limiting risk. You can see where we broke out of this. And this area at 61, it was resistance. So far, it's became support. So crude's looking pretty bullish from my end. NASDAQ breaking down. Yeah, good call on that one. Trading it and calling it are two different things. That is for sure. I don't know. It's tempting. I wouldn't mind a short on this, but yeah, I wouldn't mind a short on the NASDAQ looking for that 19,000 evens. Throw in 5 minis. Throw in the 5 minis. Just throw it on in there. Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep the ball rolling. Keep me on track. Keep me focused. It's only an hour session tonight, and we're rolling right along. The Nikkei Japanese market, we got a nice rally as well. I mean, very similar to the NASDAQ, the equities. We've rallied all the way up to 34,500. We're getting a little bit of a sell-off already tonight. I mean, it's very similar. We had that gap up. We still have that gap into play. It looks like we had a fake breakout, right? We tried to break out, pushing up tonight. We failed. We're selling right back down. I mean, I don't even want to touch the Nikkei, to be honest, with this volatility as well. I haven't traded it for a while. Maybe, to be honest, maybe there's an opportunity to short this. I don't know. We did reject up here. So, and right at these 34,400s, this was a big level of support. Is that support becoming resistance? Is this support resistance? Are we doing it again? Are we going to see a leg down here and maybe come back down and retest 33,800? Maybe. Let's just move on to gold. Let's move on to gold. Not wasting any time. Gold, hourly chart. Just bullish, right? I mean, looking to make all-time highs. We did. We had that big pullback throughout the beginning of April. Completely erased that. And this is only looking at the hourly chart. I'm still for just buying pullbacks. Just buying pullbacks in gold just continues to make sense because it's such a bullish market. And any little pullback has been great buying opportunities. Now, it doesn't mean we can't have something like this, right? When any of these dramatic sell-offs and anything can happen. But it seems like gold has been the bullish market for quite the while. That any selling opportunities are very short-lived. It's very short-term, right? Very day tradable, scalpish. If we're taking it to the short side, the majority of the trades, especially since the start of this bullish leg, has just been looking for all-time highs. 3,300 is a very round number. I would not be surprised if I wake up tomorrow morning and we're at 3,300. I mean, buy the dips, Hoop. I don't know. I mean, this is a dip on the hourly. Let's zoom into a 5-minute chart. You can see the last time we did sell off, it looks like tonight we've sold off. How far has that been? If we take that measured move, very similar to what we've seen on April 10th. So can we see this market recover and start to push back up here to these 50s? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. But we do know that this market can sell off dramatically, and we could be back down here towards these 20 or these 210s, these lower, like closer to pushing this level very fast. Oh yeah, that's how it is, right? It is. Hey, you call them out all day, but it doesn't mean anything if you don't trade it. All right? If this gap fills, I'm quitting your job. Hopefully that's a good thing, right? Are you short? Who's short? Anybody short in this NASDAQ? I shoulda, woulda, coulda been. Yes, it does. I'm short. Yep. It smells long. Short, short. Scallion long. I'm trying to look for a reason a long, right? Maybe a lower high. Maybe this is a transition. Maybe there's a reason to be long, right? Where we broke out, higher low, higher low, higher high, higher high, right? It's just that this lower high that we just put in on this 5 minute looks a little untrusting, especially with his gap down here. But this gap could still, gaps to me, I don't want to trade only because of the gap. I want to make sure there's a lot more reason behind it. But yeah, everyone sees this gap. Well, we're pushing lower. There it is, 19,000. Can we see it? Seeing a pickup in volatility almost at the top of the hour in 6 minutes. Let's see if we get 19,000. I'm out, letting the last ride. Nice move. Bear system was 19,000 common resistance. It's a big round number too. 65% short. I mean, yeah, 19,000, right? Even maybe we come back and see these 980s, 990s. I shorted. And there it goes. There it goes. You're not convinced the short is too obvious? Yeah, sometimes the obvious is obvious, and yeah, there can be power in simplicity. If it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, and quacks like a duck, maybe it's a duck. $145%, 125. We've got some kind of news. It's a big dropping, not respecting any levels. I don't know about that, pinching pennies. This seems like just normal market price action. Coin. I'm in from 1958 in long or short. I'm guessing short. The only tempting thing I was looking at was a short up here. I was looking for a short in the as soon as I started class, right? And I was talking about it, didn't trade it. Looking at these, let's look at these other markets. Better price action in slow markets these days. Yeah, slow markets has been it's been the trade. Slow markets, the Nikkei selling off still. Let's take a look at crude. Anything else? If not, we'll just go ahead and switch it right back over to the NASDAQ. And let's get to some good conversations. Get to some questions. Nice, easy, slow day. Relaxing. The OPEX week, we have to be careful. Can you look at how the recent ATR compares to COVID? Maybe I'll do that next time when I have more time. Class is almost halfway over. Dakota, is there any max profit that tells you to stop trading? No, I do not. I do not look at my P&L when it comes to tell me I'm going to stop trading because I've lost this much or I've made this much, unless it's my daily loss limit, right? Like if I hit my daily loss limit, yeah, I'm going to be done trading for the day because that's my daily loss limit. But when it comes for my profit target, I don't have a daily profit target. I'll take the setups that I see in front of me. And then if I usually, this is something I'm going to be posting either before I go to bed or tomorrow. Friday, I took 3 trades. Made $6,000 Friday. And I think that's about my sweet spot. less than 5 trades have been the best. It's been quality over quantity. That's typically that's the saying in so many things, is quality over quantity. It's not about the dollar amounts. It's more about the process. It's like, yeah, if there's one setup, I'm going to take that setup, win or lose. If I lose $500, that was my one setup. I'm done for the day. If I make $100, that was my one setup. I'm done for the day. That's hard to do. It's even hard for me to do. And if you don't even have a setup, you don't trade. You don't place it, and then you're done for the day. And so I'm not saying having a daily profit target is a bad thing. It really depends on your own trading. I've seen traders do really well. Like, yeah, my daily profit target's $800. And if I hit it, I'm done for the day. Coach, how do you handle when you go on a great winning streak so that you don't become cocky, put too much size, and trade like a degenerate? If you go on a winning streak, you just have to understand every single trade is independent of everything else. Every trade is independent. Every trade. Setting limits, risk management, right? Talking about risk management. Oh, crude's starting to roll over a little bit. Is these risk settings, I cannot tell you how much I recommend using these risk settings. So much. You know what I would love? This is my suggestion, is if there was a way to just, like it says, lockout risk settings for day, I would love to see lockout risk settings for week, lockout risk settings for month. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, we could even lock out symbols, right? If we want to lock out symbols. But this should never be overestimated. Use these. Use it. Lock out for the day. Like before, like every single night, like tonight right now, go through, set it all up, lock the risk settings in for the day so that you cannot change them when you're emotional. I wish that would be for like a week or a month. Tough commitment with a month. Yeah, that's tough, right? It's tough that you're going to follow the same process and risk management for a month. Who does that? Right? Who does the same thing for an entire month? That's too consistent for most traders to do the same thing for an entire month. We like to change stuff. We like to screw ourselves over. We self-sabotage. So to heck with doing the same thing over and over again for a month, right? Oh, man. It's so true. It's so true. I joke, but it's the truth. It's the truth, sadly. Quit talking. Talk about everybody. Talk about and myself too. Markets change. We think we adapt, but we're not adapting. We're just self-sabotaging. Let's see if we get this sell-off now. Let's see if we can get back down towards this lower end. I was looking at. Trade like you hate yourself. Yes, we do. We do. I gotta adjust something. Let me get this. I have to adjust my camera. Wait, let me make sure. Okay, you can read that, right? Topstep. No, I was not gonna flash everybody. You don't get that. Trading like I hate profits. You could hear the. Is it that bad? You could hear the creaking sound. Do you also look for head and shoulders on other patterns and other patterns? Yeah. List of patterns, big list. I mean, a lot of the basics, right? Like here's a 3-bar reversal on the 5-minute chart that could be valid for longs, right? 3-bar reversal. That is and we're pushing. Here we go. Here we go. That's a 3-bar reversal. There's a nice 3-bar reversal here. That's a pattern. Consolidation, maybe a double top. Maybe you consider this a double top. There's so many patterns. It's hard to memorize all of them, but basic price action is what I like, where you can go through and, oh man, I could not even name all the patterns, to be honest. I have you can Google a lot of patterns. Dow Russell following ES. Yeah, look at that break to the long side. Now I'm curious if we hold and we get a leg up, but we held these 19,000. That's positive, right? That's for the bulls. Crude oil selling off. Is the Nikkei holding? Yeah, Nikkei is looking pretty tempting to get in along, to be honest. Looking for a hold this trend. Can we hold that trend? Can we? That seems decent. Can we get a move higher? Can we get this? Maybe on the Nikkei. Not good for everyone who's in the short. I don't know. Gold is selling off. Yes, it is. Yeah. Man, see, everything changes so fast. Now, if we don't hold this level, if gold cannot hold this level, the obvious is to see if we could come and we can sell, 3,200, 3,210, 3,212. Yeah, I mean, I'll have the VWAP on my chart, but I don't use it as like, I'm going to trade based off of the VWAP. I have it as reference because a lot of traders like to talk about it. So if I hear Andre or someone talking about it, I kind of understand what they're talking about. NQ selling off, is it? Coach D, what is your ATM settings? Where's my ATM? I mean, you guys get to see it all. What do you want? Can you measure a 3-bar reversal? How high do you think this 3-bar would go? I don't know. That's part of it. I typically don't measure 3-bar reversals other than like the risk side. I like to measure the risk aspect of the 3-bar reversals of make sure I have everything. I'm going to set it back to where I like to have it. I like to have it like this. Where if I'm going to trade a 3-bar reversal pattern, that's not a bad one, to be honest. It's not a bad setup where we got this 3-bar reversal, right? We have a sell off, we got 1, then there's the reversal bar, and then 2. And then technically the entry would be when the bar breaks. Some traders like to wait for the close of the next candlestick. So it would have been up here at 15. And then for me, the risk is the opposite side of that candle. Since we do have a support level, like the previous pivot, then there's also an argument to be made that having a stop loss down there below that one could be valid. So both of those are valid for a long entry. And then speaking about the risk aspect, this first one you could risk 21 points, maybe 30 points, depending on where you want your stop loss. But then if you're waiting for that confirmation, you're getting in a little bit late, right? You're sacrificing price. You're getting a little bit worse price, but you're getting better confirmation because you're waiting for that 5-minute candlestick to actually close above that. I get chopped in, and so instead of you're risking closer to like 28 to 35, and this one's playing out pretty well. So far. Break through these 20s, and maybe we go right back up. I don't know. Coach, while you're in a 3-bar reversal, what makes it invalid where you should definitely get out of it? I mean, that's why I use a different chart, right? I don't trade. Everything's not based off of one chart. I use multiple charts for a reason. This 100 tick, I love it because I see these pivots, the support and resistance, and that helps me get a cleaner picture, right? Compared to this 5-minute candlestick. This allows me to zoom in and get a more clean picture. And then, if you want to trail it, and you could trail it through those pivots. So sometimes I will do that and say, where does it invalidate? Well, it depends on your process rather than on this 3-bar, or maybe you have it on this one. There's so many different ways. There's a lot of different ways. Do you ever utilize pivot points in your trading? I do not. Well, I mean, sure. Is this what you call pivot points? No sellers. What happened? I hope we don't go to. Yeah, so 2 good trades tonight, everybody, that I have not traded. We're putting on a clinic here. We talk about it. We don't trade it. We're just talking about it tonight. Nice short from up here. A nice 40+ point banger, and then a nice 3-bar reversal to the long side. Could have been a nice, so far we'll still be in this trade, but nice price action tonight for who's ever trading this. Scalping it. Whatever your definition of scalp, right? Could we have a normal week this week? Let's hope so, Hoop. Well, let's hope we get a normal week. Do we? No, actually, I hope this week is just as crazy as last week. I'm getting used to this volatility. I made some good money last week. I could use another one. I don't mind. Let's just 1,000-point range days, do it. Let's get it. I don't mind it. Like I said, Friday was amazing for me. I made 6,000 on Friday. So if we have Friday's price action every single day, just keep it going. Why ruin a good thing? We're seeing 5% intraday swings, 7% intraday swings, 12% one day. Keep it going. Move money. Just a little bit slower. Maybe just a tiny bit. If this is like a 10 out of 10 in terms of crazy price action, maybe a nice 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Slow markets have been so amazing last week. We're seeing good markets tonight. Yeah, be greedy when the market's crazy. Something like that. You had a good week too trading Nichols. 3-bar reversal, gold, long side. Now look at this. See, simple price action so far tonight. Can we break through these 20s, push right back up towards the 50s? Break through that. Some nice pivots. If we break through this, I don't think the market can withstand another tariff tweet. The market's just jaded. This feels so boring now. We're not getting 100-point moves in minutes. It feels a little bit boring. So just sitting back, relaxing on this Sunday night. Nothing like having the NASDAQ is holding 9,000 relentlessly so far. 19,000 is a big round psychological number. No tariffs for smartphones and computers. The market isn't red or green. It's orange. Candle's too small, and 3-bar wasn't deep enough for a pullback. Remember, this is still on the volatile side for slow markets, everybody. It was nice. Remember, everything's nice while it lasts. There's some saying out there. It's nice while it lasted. You never know what you had until it's gone. We enjoyed the volatility, and now if the volatility just dies and slows down, we're gonna miss it. Happy to see you Sunday night. What if we change the candles to one color? Like hollow candles? No, I can't do that one. No. Man, changing the candles will mess with my eyes. I'm just so used to this. Can you show us your trade from Friday? Friday was bad for me. Yeah, sure. I could show you my trade from Friday. Shall we do a review the last few minutes? We could talk about Friday. I mean, we got that out of the way. We go through Friday. Yeah, let's go through that. I don't know. Where's it was on dare I show everybody? If I show you, you got to promise me not to share it. Yeah. Okay, where's the charts and executions? I think show chart executions. Okay. Let's look. There's Friday's price action. What a man. You promise you're not going to show everybody. Yes. Okay. All right, let's take a look at this. It looks cleaner on the 1 minute chart. It looks cleaner on the 1 minute chart, but yeah, I mean, it was straightforward on Friday's price action, to be honest. It was pretty volatility. We love volatility. Like, look at these moves, right? 300 points up, and then followed by, easy 200 points down, up, down, all that fun stuff. But here are the trades. You can see where I was looking for a breakdown. I kind of scalped it up. I don't know. Is this a scalp? Is 50 points a scalp in this market? That's kind of what I was going for. You can see where I short 588. Let's look what it looked like on the 100 tick chart. Because I have the 100 tick chart, and that's where I do a lot of the executions. There you go. There they are. So you can see it, how they correlate with each other. I got into two minis. Minis. These are minis. I was trading minis, which is still small for how I normally trade. I normally jump in with 5 minis. This is like 1 or 2 minis. So I'm seeing consistency in my trading, and so I decided to, start to scale up. So as I'm doing well, I want to scale back up to 30 minis like I was last year. Last year, I was in and I was trading 30 minis. Now, of course, last year we didn't have this volatility, but that's part of how I trade. Is if I go through drawdown, everybody knows this. I talked about it, over $40,000 in drawdown, and then getting back to the drawing board, trading, starting to see better executions, better markets, better trades. I was up like 15,000 last week. I don't know. And now I'm starting to execute better in micros. This volatility, I'm getting used to this volatility. And so instead of micros, I jumped in with minis. And now it's still not my normal position size. My normal position size is five minis. Now this is 1 or 2 minis. So it's still 1/5 of my position size. So this is still like 1/5 my position size. And then as if I continue to see good consistency in these markets and in my trading, and then I'll just keep going into bigger position, maybe 5 minis, scaling it up, and hopefully getting back to those 30 minis. If this market allows for it, right? I don't think 30 minis in this market, or at least last week's market, would be valid. It would be like 5 minis would be, yeah, it's insane. We'll see. Everything depends on market volatility. Everything depends on how I'm trading and how my consistency is. So anyway, back to the markets. This is Friday. This is definitely Friday where I was looking for a breakout trade. This is a breakdown. We had a pivot high, another pivot high, and then you can see where I got in short as we started to break down, 581. 573. The shorts were a breakdown trade. You can see that I took looks like 18 points of heat, 19 points of heat, and then we just sold off. I covered them at 75, so that was just a nice in and out scalp, right? Scalp, 75 and 72. That really wasn't much, huh? I closed that one out early. That one was just that was basically a scratch. 75, 72. I think I made $100 on that one. That was really not much. And then I got into the same trade again. I got in at 528. 528, we started to gain momentum back down. Closed that one out short. That was a quick scalp, right? Obviously, everything's better off of hindsight. Should have held on to the position because the market continued to sell off, 130, 150 points. So just another scalp, 20 points on that one. I was happy with the 20 points. We sold off 508. Simple, straightforward. No. I shorted 508. That was my close. Yeah, I shorted 508 and then I bought 74. So, yeah, 25, 30 points on that one. That was 30 points. That was a 30-point scalp. So that's $600. I'm thinking, man, math is hard. It's Sunday night, man. It's Sunday night, everybody. I was still in a short position. Because I covered one from like 448. I don't know. The math's in front of you. Do the math, everybody. Essentially, I was looking to short this market for a sell-off. The market sold off. I covered for 448. Simple, okay? Now, this other one was better. I could explain this other one a lot better. Let's get to this next one. Anyway, you can see this next one was straightforward. 18,489. This was a breakdown trade. You can see we were starting to make lower highs, right? Lower high. Let me just reset this for everybody to see. Here's the high. Here's a lower high. Here's a lower high. And then here is a pivot low. So I traded and I was looking for a breakdown of this support. So obviously we got a nice 3-bar reversal. We started to sell off. We had this nice bounce. See this nice bounce over here? So let me see if I could break it down for you. So here's that low high. We sold off. We had a nice bounce. And then as soon as we started to see, guess what? Support versus resistance. This was support once. This was support twice. I remember this one. I remember this one a lot better. And guess what? Support became resistance. I hopped in at 89 as we started to sell off. And that one was a good trade. That was almost 100 points. That was almost 100 points. Wow. Okay, that was a good one. I wasn't really even paying too much attention, to be honest. That was 100 points. I closed it out at 94. Okay. Yeah, that was almost 100 points on that trade. And then sure enough, I think I had one more. Yeah, one more. My last one. This was my last trade of the day. We rallied up. This one was a good one. This was a good one. This was a really good one. Same thing. Same setup as all of the ones today or that day. It was the same setup. You guys could see it. Everybody could see it. Lower highs on the 5-minute, right? Lower high, lower high, lower high. This is the New York session. And sure enough, I got in at 510. 510, that is. Yeah, 510. And you could see why. Right? Everybody could see why I got in, right? We started to sell off and we broke down. We had a fake out. This is a fake out trade where everyone who was looking for a breakout long got faked into long sides. All right, you can see where we had this consolidation, and we faked out. We sold off. We tried to rally again, and then I just got in right at 510 as we started to break down. It looks like 510. Yeah, right there. Makes sense. Started to break down, and then we popped up. I almost added. I remember I almost added, and then we just sold off, and I closed it out right at 452. So I closed it off right there. So that was a 50. Yeah, this is the one that about 50 or 60 points. That was my Friday. And like I said, this volatility has been very, very, very insane. If these scalps are like, 50, 60, 100 points, which just it felt so weird. It still feels weird. And yeah, that's basically it. Oh, this is looking good. This is looking good, to be honest, everyone. All right. It's not. I freaking missed. Market versus limit. Nope. All right. You know what? I'm not going to screw around with it. I'm not going to mess around. I'm not going to mess. That pissed me off. I'm not going to mess around with it. Yep. Next. Okay. Yep. I don't even mind if it's pullback. Anyway, let's see what do we have? We have 5 minutes left. Not gonna screw around with this. No, I don't draw anything before taking a setup. It's too slow. I do all my analysis before. Talk about it. I could see it. You could see. I even talked about it. Right? Is this going to be a head and shoulders the opposite? We've been making these lower, right? Higher low, and it looked like we was going to break down, looking for a retest of these 950s, and so this would have been like a 10, 20 point scalp, and yeah, I'm just not going to screw around with. Look at part of that is, look how thin this order book is. Look at that. It's such a thin. Look, all ones and twos. So I saved myself. I'm happy I saved myself. I didn't like that price action. I just said, nope, not worth it. Not worth it in this liquidity. So there we go. Hey, making $200 and not losing $200 is the same thing. Or $500. Yeah, that would have been five or 600. So you can make 500 or 600 or not lose 500 or 600. Same thing in my book. That I saved $600. That is how I just saved it. So I feel that's as good as enough. That's a winner to me. That is a winner to me. Yeah, dodge that one. Yep. Why don't I see orders in DOM? I only see one bid and ask. You probably have level 1 data. Level 1 data is where you just see only the bid and the ask. Level 2 is where you'll see the depth of book. You'd see the orders. But look how thin it is. Just ones. Look at that. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. So if somebody wants to come in and jump and try and sell like 20 at market, they'll push this thing 5-10 points. Weird. It's just, that's why we're seeing a lot of volatility as well. It's, yeah, someone who wants to come in here and sell 50 contracts, we could count it. Like, where are we going to get filled 50? You're not going to get filled 50 until, quite a while. And so anybody with 50 contracts could push this market 10 points in either direction right now. Maybe even more than 10 points. Maybe, yeah, more than that. So, is this delayed? Is what delayed? Partial fills. Partial fills. Yeah, there's some intuition that it's hard to teach that. It's hard to teach. Setup looks good. You kind of make a decision. You're like, no, I just better be done. It's happened more than once. Low liquidity in this market. Just no. I'm going to be on for fast markets tomorrow morning. I'm not going to screw around with what price action we're seeing here. I don't know how to teach that one. How do you teach? There's some level that, regardless of who you talk to, there is definitely some level of intuition. I wouldn't say that a trader could have a strategy fully based off of intuition, because intuition will get you in and get you out of trouble. But if you have a strategy, then intuition can help a little bit. It can also hurt. I would rather use intuition on keeping me out of trades or getting out of trades or keeping me out of the market than getting me in. Like I don't, some of my worst trades are trades where I get in because of intuition. It's like, this could look like it, I think it's going to be going down. Though, and then you just take it. I have to have a technical reason. However, if something just is not right, then I'm not going to take it. And tonight, it just, looking at this DOM, like I said, when I placed it, I was looking at the chart and everything is valid. Looking for a breakdown, we're making higher or lower highs. We have that gap lower, and it's a valid trade, right? And then you just ask yourself, where's your stop loss? How big of size? If I do get in at this level, can I have a 100-point stop loss? Does that make sense to have that big of a stop loss? Could I have a stop loss at this pivot? That's, still 60, 70 points almost. And then if we do break down, yeah, that's going to be an amazing trade. Maybe even looking just for a 1-to-1. Maybe we come down to these 930s for a 1-to-1 trade. But then, looking to place it, as I placed it, I'm like, wow, okay, I'm not getting filled. And then I look at 1s and 2s, and I'm like, no, this is stupid. And then just, sometimes you just have to do that. And then just, I'll utilize the lockout feature. So I'm going to call that one good. No trades for me tonight. Nothing else going on in these other markets. Gold straight back up. Why not? Because gold is gold and gold goes up. So, all right. Take care, everybody. Remember, it is Sunday night. Take care of yourself. Enjoy. Trading is optional. You've seen it here. Right there. Trading was definitely optional. And yes, take care. I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. If not, tomorrow night.